You know, I haven't fucking cringed in a while, so why not just get myself back into the groove by looking at people I used to align with politically and then cringing at myself by proxy through this compilation video.
As I mentioned, we are not
Oh, we all seen this before.
The media's covering up. Your Biden's covering up this election. He's stealing it.
Hell yeah, brother. I feel like I've seen that one 1,000 times, or at least I've heard the soundbite so many times of he's stealing it. Fucking love the shirt. Barbecue, beer, and freedom. I mean, whenever it comes to America, that's the main things that I give a fuck about. I love how this dude turns around to him, like just staring him straight in the face, like, what the fuck is happening right now? I would be freaked out just as well if this dude come rolling up on me screaming about something. It would take me a good 10 seconds to understand what the words are that's coming out of his mouth, and then it would take me a second to snap back into reality and be like, oh, okay, this is an actual fucking human being. This is a real life fucking person that I share the earth with.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
These anti-maskers warn of Satanism, death, and pedophilia. Wait, what? She just...
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
God.
In the beginning, God formed man out of the earth and breathed his breath in him, and he became a living soul.
It's... it's so hard to look at this lady's face and just take her seriously. This is what I was saying in one of my other videos, if I even posted it. Why are we talking about religion? This is the discourse that we have in our politics. I feel like this is the base for every argument, and it all comes down to this. What are your religious or non-religious convictions, and does that play a role in the law of the nation? Does that play a role in policy? And if it does for you, then that's the argument we need to have, is why should the whole populace of a nation be under the rule of a law that is influenced by a religion? And that's the real argument we need to have there. Outside of that, if we can't come to that understanding, then we just have this random cringe here where some lady's getting up feeling some type of way about the way masks make her feel is some sort of spit in the face to God. As I said in my other video, there's like a good middle ground there where you can be religious, but you don't have to be a religious zealot about everything. You don't have to enforce your religion into policy, and then by proxy, everybody else is following exactly what you believed ever since you were a little fucking girl in Sunday school. Your parents brought you to this fucking backwoods Baptist church that you just fucking loved, and that's all you know. So now you're a grown adult, but still inside, you're still that little girl just following exactly what mommy and daddy told you to do, because you never questioned anything for yourself. You never had any real understanding about how the world actually worked, and you can't comprehend the fact that other people do not share your same religious worldview, but that doesn't make them horrible people.
Where do you derive the authority to regulate human breathing? What you say is the political dogma that they're trying to shove down our throats on every commercial and every store, and it's disgusting.
Every single one of you.
It's great. I think this is like everybody can come sit down and like speak their piece or whatever, and that's good for, you know, a community that wants to voice its concerns about stuff. I just wish that I would see more of these videos cut where people of the community are voicing their concerns about something tangible and something that makes sense and they're coherent, and that maybe some real change comes from it, that they're actually holding their elected officials accountable. But it always seems to come down to fucking cringe. It seems like we get the most wild fucking people up behind the microphone talking some fucking nonsense, which I guess is what happens whenever you're like me and you just feel like politics is like just a helpless sphere that is just overwhelmingly hard to tackle. And so you just don't even show up to shit like this, and the only people that show up are people with a lot of fucking time on their hands and some crazy fucking hot take.
That are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity.
Let me ask you all, do you believe you're God? Do you believe you can override God's divine plan for our lives? You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these communist...
Lady, blow your nose. Jesus fucking Christ.
Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every
she can
single
read
one of you are going
minds?
to get punished by God. You cannot escape God.
Okay, so maybe we should leave it at that. How about we implement this? You should take solace in the fact that people that are writing laws to spite God will get theirs in the end whenever that comes around. So how about you live in your bubble of your religious zealotry, and then you just let everybody else have a functioning society where we actually respect one another. You can sit over here and just fucking wait until the end times comes and Jesus comes back. Then all of a sudden, all the elected government officials who passed policy, or anyone who happens to be registered Democrat, or anyone who's left-leaning, you can sit there and just know within your religious little heart, your little Christian heart, that they're just all going to go to hell because they can't escape God. And that'd be good enough. And you can live in that little world, and we can just go on about our business and just pass policy that is going to actually help keep people safe, like mask mandates, for example.
You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet, okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're
No! I'm at a loss for fucking words right now, dude. Like, I would be smirking behind that fucking mask too. God smite me down now.
I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now.
Much of our communication is nonverbal, which includes facial expressions, gestures displayed, and the physical distance between the communicators. How will young children be able to know who the dangerous deviants are, like pedophiles and people in the human sex trafficking?
You did not.
What?
Be
Let's
in
go
a
back.
psych ward right the
Run
heck
that back.
now.
How will young children be able to know who the dangerous deviants are, like pedophiles and people in the human sex trafficking?
Ma'am, I think you threw your back out with a stretch like that. What the fuck are you talking about? You think because someone's wearing a mask, they're gonna get away with because they had a smirk on their face whenever they fucking saw a kid in a playground or some shit? Even if they had a mask on, hey, I would know that it's a or a not because they fucking smiled, but because, hey, they're taking my kid by the hand and running him over to a van.
You did not listen to we the people. I would die for that country. I would die for the Constitution. And you know what? You disgrace me. You know why? You did not listen to we the people. You made your decision.
I haven't worn a mask yet. I'm not wearing it today. Besides, despite what you guys do up here today, I'm not wearing one tomorrow. I was born free. I will stay free. My rights come from God, not from you. I'm not wearing it. You're going to have to.
God, this is like, oh my God, like I want to bang my head against the wall. Everyone has a worldview, but these people are so bound by the idea that God rules their life in such a way that it doesn't allow for any sort of policies to take care of one another. No human compassion as far as like the mask mandates, where this is essentially old news, but I mean, mask mandates have been lifted for most places. It's just such, they sound like fucking babies. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I had to wear a mask, and I get there may be an argument for some exceptions, but I feel like most people just try to be dickheads and push the envelope about not wearing a mask just so they can feel like they exercise some sort of freedom. It's more about owning the libs, owning the left by not wearing a mask, rather than it is looking out for your fellow human being, people in a society looking out for one another, and not spreading a fucking deadly disease.
We are a nation of shared values of freedom, liberty, equality. We are home of the free, land of the brave. This is America, as someone else spoke. This is not Cuba. We are not in a communist nation.
And I say Trump 2020, and I hope every one of you gets voted out who votes for a mask here today. Shame on you for voting for a mask.
Noted.
Peace and love! Peace and love! Peace and love!
Is that Harry Potter music? Fantastic Beast music?
I'll keep away from your ass.
Whoa!
I'll keep away from your ass. Don't worry. I'll keep away from your ass. That's right. You want pedophilia and communism? You want pedophilia and communism? Vote Democrat.
What's your name?
What's yours?
My name's Trinity Patrick. What's your
My
name?
name's Trinity Patrick.
What's your name?
My name's Trinity Patrick.
What's your name?
My name's Trinity Patrick.
This is why, for me, politics is such a heavy lies the crown. I hate using this term, like apathy in politics, but that's the best way I could describe how I feel. I still think that we need to speak up and and organize and attempt to make real change, but I get a mental roadblock whenever I see people like this, because how do you convert people like this who are just full of hatred into someone who recognizes the error of their ways? And I'm not saying like someone who has a bad take on foreign policy or immigration in a non-malicious stance. I more so mean people who are just full of hatred, literally calling someone the N-word, and they're the Trump-Pence voter. I think there are a subset of people who voted for Trump and Pence because they wanted, it was like an anti-establishment move, and then they quickly realized like, this fucking sucks, this dude's a piece of shit, and then they, maybe like me, realize there are really no good options out there. The two-party system is fucking broken, and nobody really reflects your political stance at all. How do you reconcile dealing with people like this? I don't know if this is the majority on the right, but it sure seems to be the loudest on the right.
Well, I made up my mind.
That dude, did you just drink okra juice? What the fuck was that? I can't tell what that is. It looked like a jar of okras.
I'm on that Trump train, so hop on and ride.
Yep. Oh, it's a koozie with a beer in it. Dude, it straight up looked like a can of okra. These people are like the perfect representation of who is in my vicinity. The boomer populace is going to be these kind of people who most likely voted for Trump, but for all the wrong reasons. And I don't know if there's any right reasons, but for the most malicious of reasons, I guess is what I should say. Like that's all they can see. There's no path to a good America. There's no path to a respectable America if it's not Trump in power making all the moves. I'm seeing people I see on a daily basis who are just like, it's the kind of people that live in a bubble. They don't think about how anybody else's lives could be. They have no perspective to bring to the table whenever it comes to voting for policy. I'm sure there was a time in their day where college was affordable, housing was affordable. And then for our generation, it's a lot harder to actually get a college degree. It's a lot more expensive. Housing is a lot more expensive. And then if it's not mortgage, rent's abhorrent. It's always going up. Just like everything else is right now. Republican conservative society tells you now it's time to start a family, a straight family, a heterosexual family, mind you, and then have children. And then they just don't give a fuck about any of that. Moms barely get enough maternity leave for it to amount to anything. And even then, single mothers don't have enough resources to even live comfortably. What I'm saying is, like, our generation is recognizing all the issues and we're suggesting things we can do to fix it and go about it. And then people like these two right here that are clapping to this fucking god-awful remix think that it's all about entitlement and selfishness and that we don't work hard enough and that we have it so easy. That's the part of it all that really just is infuriating, is trying to get people like this who are so blindly committed to their political ideologies that they do not have the wherewithal to even see it from anybody else's perspective, lest they just be perceived as selfish and not hardworking. And anyway, it's just the long and short of it is they just think that they're better than anyone else who suggests otherwise to fix basic policy that would make the nation better, which is the irony. Anyway, I think that's all I can take. This was supposed to be cringe, and I did cringe a little bit, but I started getting worked up again, and goddamn, it's hot in this room.